What is going on, guys? Jack has got your back. Welcome to a very special tier list. So, this tier list is a celebration, you might say, of like all the different Assassin's Creed games that came out through the years as Assassin's Creed. The original Assassin's Creed is turning 15 years old. So the whole series is now 15 years old. Just let that sink in a bit. It's 15 years old, 2007. Just let that sink in a bit. I'll wait. Don't worry. I'll wait. So we are going to be doing the tier list of like all 12 mainline games, as well as like the spin-offs as well. So you got Chronicles in there, you got Liberation, Freedom Cry, that sort of thing. So you've got like all the main titles as well as the spin-offs. So this is the ultimate tier list. Without further ado, let's start with the original Assassin's Creed 1. So yeah, 2007 this game came out. I think I got this for Christmas 2007. This was really, really good. So this takes place in 1191 AD, if I remember correctly. As you might tell, as you can tell, I actually do like Assassin's Creed a little bit. So this was set in the Crusader period. The location kind of escapes me because like all around, I think this is like the Holy Land. I have no idea where the Holy Land is. I want to say like it's in Israel or something like that, but I could be totally wrong with that. Because there's like Jerusalem, there's Acre. Damascus, I think that's how you pronounce that one. And you play as Altair, this guy here. So this story, basically, it's the premise of Assassin's Creed is that you're this guy. I'm talking about original Assassin's Creed. We'll get to like the newer versions of Assassin's Creed a little bit later. So the premise of the OG Assassin's Creed is that you're this guy, Desmond Miles, that has like this long lineage of assassin ancestry, and like all of his ancestors, his whole lineage is on the assassin side, because there's like this war between assassins and Templars. So the Templars want to change the world, but it fits like their image, and the assassins are there to prevent the Templars from going crazy and making their own reality, their own future, trying to stop it from materializing. So that's like their job. They're like hide in the shadows. They operate in the dark. But yeah, I really, really like that premise. It's really good. We'll get to the newer Assassin's Creed games in just a little bit. So yeah, Assassin's Creed 1, pretty much like a straightforward game. You are Altair thinks he's too big for his boots, and he feels like he can practically do anything. And the beginning of the game, something goes wrong, and the master of the assassins at the time, now I'm trying to actually remember his name. It's not coming to me. Al-Mualim? I think that's it. I think I'm correct. Al-Mualim. I'm just going to call him Al. I'm just going to call him Big Al. Big Al, the master assassin in this period. He basically strips Altair of his rank, basically making him a novice, like a little... Yeah, just basically a novice again. And so he has to work his way up to becoming like master assassin, like his original title again. He has to remember what it is to be an assassin. So you go on this quest of like trying to take down 8 or 9 Templar masters. So in doing so, you have to go to the assassin bureau in the area, get some leads, do various side objectives to know the location of the main target. You kill the main target, you go back to Big Al, and then you move on. It's simple premise, but damn good. At the time of recording, the Ubisoft event hasn't aired yet, so we're gonna get like the new Assassin's Creed Mirage, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that they say it's going back to basics. I hope they actually do mean that. I hope it does go back to basics and we're actually able to, I don't know, like go up against like all these different Templar masters. We have to go do side objectives to know the location. I hope it does go back to basics. It's not an RPG. Please, for the love of God, don't let it be an RPG. Please. Yeah, so with the screenshot as well, like we got like the art of Assassin's Creed Mirage, it does look promising, like it is literally going back to basics and it looks like original Assassin's Creed. But is it going to be too late? We'll know. But maybe we might get like another Assassin's Creed project. I'm hoping for a remake of the original. But we'll see. That's enough rambling from me. So this game... Oh, actually, you know what? Let me lock... Yeah, there we go. I'm going to lock the ratio. Alright. So, I don't know. I have a soft spot for this game, but I think I put in the A category. It just misses out. I am planning on doing a stream on Assassin's Creed because as it's like the 15th anniversary, I kind of want to do something towards Assassin's Creed because I absolutely love the franchise. I love the series. I have books as well. Like I read the majority of the books as well. There's only a couple I'm missing. But yeah, like the books. Love reading the books. I read, and it's a great series. So I want to show my appreciation for the series as it's 15 years. So I was thinking about doing a stream for Assassin's Creed 1. So as there's a 15-year gap between Assassin's Creed and then like let's say Valhalla, for instance, or like, you know, like a 15-year period between those two games, and that's a lot that's changed. So probably going back to the original might be a bit difficult because, you know, it's going back to the original. But we'll see how this holds up when I do a stream of it. Yeah, but yeah, it's gonna be an A. It just misses out on the main top tier. So Assassin's Creed 2. Chef's Kiss. This game is phenomenal. Hands down, the best Assassin's Creed game ever. I think, yeah, like these next two games, they're up there. These two games are amazing. So this one you control Ezio Auditore da Firenze, basically another ancestor of Desmond Miles. You're continuing the events that happened after Assassin's Creed 1. So as Desmond is reliving his memories of his ancestors, he's becoming more what would you say? He's becoming more akin to like their abilities. So he has eagle vision and he has all these different abilities very quickly as he is picking up all these different techniques and training abilities that these guys go through during the game. So he starts to see things, like Desmond starts to see things, and he learns that Abstergo is basically a Templar front, and he has to GTFO as soon as possible. So yeah, Assassin's Creed 2, you control Ezio in his early life as an assassin, and this game is absolutely incredible. Definitely going to be doing a stream on this one for sure. There might be a time where I like just, you know, cut when I'm going to do like Assassin's Creed streams, but yeah, definitely Assassin's Creed 2 is going to get done. Yeah, this takes place in Renaissance Italy, so just before the 16th century. So you're like from the later 1400s up until the early 1500s. So yeah, it's great. This game is absolutely incredible. You fight against the Borgia, which is like another Templar outfit. Yeah, so like these games heavily take inspiration from like real life like events or real life people, and they sort of like twist it in a sense that will actually make sense to like the story that they're trying to tell. It's great. But yeah, Assassin's Creed 2, it basically builds upon Assassin's Creed 1, but it gives you a lot more to do. There's a lot more missions. Yeah, there's a lot more like varying missions. You still fight against like different Templar masters, but it's structured a hell of a lot better. There's armor pieces that you can grab along the way, as well as like Altair's armor as well. It's strange as well because I didn't think that Altair went to like he went to Italy and he had like an armor that reflected Renaissance Italy. It's strange, but I will take it. That's like the ultimate armor, and then you have to go find these codex pages in order to like progress the story at the end of the game. It's great. Oh yeah, and Leonardo da Vinci is your bestie. Leonardo da Vinci is your guy throughout the whole game. So I think it's only fair that I put Assassin's Creed 2 in the Master Assassin category. So, of course, these are like my opinions and my standings of the games, my memories of the game. So I'd love to hear your suggestions, your tier lists in the comments below. Always appreciated. So yeah, this is my tier list system. I actually forgot to mention this. This is the S category, is the Master Assassin category. And then the games that I haven't played or complete trash is called Requiescat in Pace, which basically is rest in peace in Italian because Ezio says it a lot. But yeah, so good. Alright, moving on. Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. This game takes place literally after the events of Assassin's Creed 2. Literally right after it. It's amazing. Yeah, so you control Ezio again. I think Ezio is the best assassin character we've ever gotten. Come at me, fight me in the comments below. I will fight back. No, I'm joking. But yeah, I think Ezio is definitely the best assassin we've ever got, period. In these 17 years. It's actually 17 games. In these 17 games, in these 15 years, we've got Assassin's Creed. I think Ezio is the best. So yeah, you control Ezio again, and this game basically takes place wholeheartedly in Rome. So it all takes place in Rome, and I actually did go to Rome on holiday a few years back. So like playing through this game and then actually literally going to Rome as well. Brilliant experience. Yeah, so again, takes place all in Rome. So you've got like the Colosseum, you've got like all these different Castillos. It's great. And yeah, it's like 1500s Italy as well. So you fight against the Borgia as well, and I forgot his name as well. I think his name is Cesare or Caesar. Yeah, Cesare Borgia, which is like the son of like the main dude. Borgia, what's his name? Alberto, I think. I completely forgot his name. But yeah, so you fight against him. He's like the big cheese. He's the big bad guy. So basically, it takes Assassin's Creed 2, amplifies it, gives you more story, gives you more weapons, armor, different things to do, and yeah, just builds upon Assassin's Creed 2. It's great, and this is the first Assassin's Creed game that introduces multiplayer. So the multiplayer component was good, and there was like a reason why the multiplayer component was there, because the assassins, kinda like these are like Abstergo agents, and they have their own animuses or animi. I actually don't know what the plural is. I actually don't even know if they actually touched upon what the plural is for the animus. They have their own machines to go back in time and learn the tricks of the trade when it comes to the assassins. So when it comes for their time to go up against the assassins in modern day, they're actually well trained and they know how to deal with the assassins. It's a great premise for multiplayer. It's like Halo multiplayer as well. It actually makes sense. It's not like, oh, this is like the multiplayer, it's just tacked on. Oh, here you go. No, this actually has premise and it actually makes sense. Great, that's how you actually do a multiplayer component in the game. So yeah, this is, again, a phenomenal game. It's great. I love it. It's so good. Again, it builds upon what Assassin's Creed 2 is, so it's going to have to go in the Master Assassin category. Definitely. Hell yeah. Absolutely. Alright, Next up, we have Assassin's Creed Revelations. Again, you play as Ezio, and thank God that Xbox came out with the Ezio collection that came out not too long ago. But it compiled Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, and Revelations in one package. And there was like 3,000 gamer score. Oh, so good. Oh yeah, so Assassin's Creed 2, this was probably the only Assassin's Creed game that I've 100%ed 3 times. I've completed Assassin's Creed 2 3 times. So I had this game on PS3 originally, and I got the Platinum Trophy for that. And then I had it again on 360 via backwards compatibility as well. 100%ed that game as well. And then it came out for the Ezio collection on the Xbox One. And again, 100%ed that as well. It's just a good game. So I went and got the feathers 3 times. I got all those feathers 3 times. Thank God for Achievement Hunters collectible maps. So good back in the day. Sidetrack. Moving back onto the main tracks, we have Assassin's Creed Revelations. Again, you play as Ezio, and this is more coming towards the end of his journey. This takes place in the mid 1500s, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. And you fight the Templars in Constantinople, or I can't even say it. Istanbul. I can't even do it. What was it called? Istanbul. Sorry, there we go. I had a bit of a brain fart. My bad. So you fight them there. Constantinople, basically Turkey, the Ottoman Empire, and all that. And Ezio basically goes back to the Holy Land as well. That's why Altair is in the cover as well, because you go to the Holy Land as well. Basically trying to know like the lineage of the assassins. Because in Brotherhood you get like the Piece of Eden line, like there's like a whole Adam and Eve, Pieces of Eden, Assassins and Templars way back in the day thing. It gets a little bit convoluted, but like again, they're trying to find out ways to branch the whole religious aspect of these games and all that. But so Ezio goes to the Holy Land and wants to know like the lineage of the assassins, and like how to stop like the big massive threat to like the planet and all that. So he starts having like all these different visions of Altair, and you actually do missions as Altair in like his later to near enough dead stages of his life. So you basically play, at one point you play like a 90-year-old Altair. It's great. And I thought it was a good game. And it brings back the multiplayer aspect of this game as well. And it sets up Assassin's Creed 3 as well. We'll get to Assassin's Creed 3 in a minute. So, I think without further ado, I think we're actually gonna have to put this game. I don't know. I'm gonna put this game in the A category. So it's like I enjoyed it, but it just misses that mark of like, it just misses the mark compared to like the other Assassin's Creed, like the other Ezio games. It just misses that mark just a hair. But I still had a good time with it. I thought it was good, especially when the parts you play is like Altair and all that. It was great. Just checking the time. We're going for 20 minutes. It's not bad. So I thought it was a good time. It's going to have to go into the A category. It just misses out. It's not as good as 2 or Brotherhood in my eyes. Right, this game, Assassin's Creed 3. This is a bit of a toughie because I didn't mind this game, but I don't know. I really don't know what to think about this game because I still had puberty. I still had a decent time with it. You play as another one of Desmond's ancestors. This is Connor Kenway. That's his English name because he is a Native American dude. I don't know his Native American name. It doesn't roll off the tongue, let's say. So you basically play as Connor Kenway, in the 1700s in America when the whole independence thing was going on. So there was George Washington as one of the main characters. There was Graham Bell, I think. Benjamin Franklin as well. So there was like a lot of like American influences, like a lot of characters, a lot of places. I think Boston was part of this game. I don't think Washington was, but I think Jacksonville, something like that. I thought it was okay. I didn't mind this at all, but like I did actually prefer the sections of this game that was full on war. So you would have like this section that's in the game where you're on the blue coats. I think you're with the blue coats, and you go up against the red coats, which is the British, and there's like this hill. So you basically have to like go from the bottom of the hill all the way to the top whilst avoiding cannon fire and like bullets and that sort of thing. So those sections of the game, like the actual war sections of the game, great, fantastic. But I don't know, like the story in some cases was a little bit boring for me anyway. It could be completely different for you. In some cases for me, it was a little bit boring. But as soon as I got to like the war sections of the game and like the final couple of chapters in the game as well, I really enjoyed it. The beginning of the game was a little bit slow. It sort of like picks up in the third or fourth act when you take control as Connor. But you play as his dad first, and then I won't say spoilers because you might not have played the game. But there's like a massive twist. I'm like, oh shit, that's a big twist. That's amazing for the time. That was great. There's a big twist. And then you play as his son, and you play his son throughout the game. Yeah, I didn't mind it. You had like a tomahawk, as well as your, normal assassin gear, so like the hidden blades. You had pistols as well. This is when they started to introduce like actual like pistols and rifles and all that. At Revelations, you had like a hidden pistol. No, in Brotherhood? No, in Brotherhood you had like a hidden pistol. But this is when they really started to give you actual firearms to play with. But yeah, I didn't mind it, but like there are some parts of the game which I felt that was just a little bit boring. But yeah, I think it's gonna have to go in the B category. So it's middle of the range for me. Definitely middle of the range for me. I still had a good time with it. There was like this naval aspect of the game, which the naval aspect is still being used like to this day in other Assassin's Creed titles, as well as a game that's coming out later, which I don't know if I'm going to play or not. I might skip it, who knows. It's Skull and Bones that's been announced like almost 10 years ago, madness, that is still being made. Like Dead Island as well, that's still a thing. But yeah, like it still had like, it wasn't too bad. It was middle of the range for me. Again, it could be completely different for you. Don't get me started on the mini games as well, like that whole board game thing with like not the checkers, but it would kind of play like checkers, but it was very confusing to play. Don't get me started on that. That was mad, and especially when there's like an achievement tied to it as well. Right, so that was Assassin's Creed 3. Now, Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. So this basically, Assassin's Creed 3 was like the end of Desmond's arc, basically. But they still kind of continued with Desmond's lineage in the fourth game. So this was like a launch title for the Xbox One, and this was like promoting like, oh, there's no load times when you go in between different sections and all that. I think it was still I think it held true, I think, with that. So you play as Edward Kenway. So Edward Kenway is the grandfather of Connor Kenway. So you basically go through 17th century, if not 16th century. Actually, I don't know. The 1700s. I think it was like early 1700s. Like the Caribbean and also parts of America and all that. But it was heavily naval based and also pirate based, which I thought was really, really good. I had this on the 360 at first, and then I upgraded to the Xbox One version of this game. I thought it was a very, very good game, especially when like the pirate stuff kicked in. We had to like plunder like different boats, and at some point you would come up like against like a man of war, and I'm like, oh shit, that's a man of war. I think I could take it. No, don't. Make sure you're fully upgraded first before you actually go and take out a man of war. Especially the legendary ships as well. There's like 4 legendary ships like on each corner of the map, and they're an absolute bugger. And there's an achievement tied to it. I think I managed to do like 1 legendary ship, and then I didn't do the rest. But yeah, I had a very good time with this game for sure, because Edward was like a mixed bag. He didn't know if he wanted to be an assassin or a Templar. He was like in the middle, and then like throughout the game he sort of slowly became an assassin, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really remember the story all that well. I just remember that Blackbeard was a thing in this game, but yeah, I don't really remember it all that well, but I think that was like the premise of this game. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a good time. And you had this whole aspect of like Iguana Island, and you had to, spend your resources in order to, like upgrade your base so you could have like more income coming in for like your chest and all that. It was basically like Assassin's Creed 2's and also Brotherhood's like a whole income system where you, like in Assassin's Creed 2, you had like Villa Auditore and in Tuscany, so you had like this whole like little hub world for Assassin's Creed 2 where you had to like spend your resources in order to have like a greatly increase your income or have discounts in stores and all that. Great, loved that premise. Even in Brotherhood, you had like all these different shops and restorations as well in Rome that you had to do that would increase your income as well. Great premise. So they sort of like brought it back for Black Flag. Even Assassin's Creed 3 had it as well. The homestead, you would have to like spend your resources and upgrade your homestead. It was good, but yeah, they had that premise going for it, and I actually didn't mind that world building at all. Didn't mind it. Right, Assassin's Creed Rogue. I'm putting the remastered version of this game because this is the version of the game that I played. I missed out on this on the 360, but luckily they brought this out for like the Xbox One, so I played this version of the game. If you were to tell me what this game is about, I couldn't tell you because I completely forgot about what this game is about. It's basically like a dumbed down version of Black Flag, so you still had like the naval combat stuff and all that. But you basically played as a Templar. You were like a Templar throughout the game. But yeah, if you were to tell me like, or to ask me like, oh, what's this game about? I don't know. I forgot this guy's name as well. I think Shane McCormack. I could be, or Shane McCormack, something like that. Going up against your assassin brethren because you were an assassin to begin with, and then you didn't like the ideas or the ideals for like assassins and all that, so you're like, fuck you to the system, and then you're like, you're a Templar now. That's it. That's all I could tell you. So I think this game is gonna have to go into the C category, the first C game, because I couldn't tell you what this game is about anymore. I don't really know. I actually forgot about this game. I actually don't remember when I played this last. I think it was like 3-4 years ago, something like that, or when it like originally came out as a remaster. I completely forgot. Right, Assassin's Creed Unity. So they basically took the Assassin's Creed formula and they tried to build upon it. So like the whole free climbing system was completely revamped, and there was like an easier way of getting down from like a higher point. So let's say like this takes place in France. I couldn't tell you which period of time. I think it was like in the 1800s, I think, that this took place in. Because this took place in revolutionary France, so there was like a lot of revolution against the man in France at this time in the game. So let's say you were like on the top of Notre Dame, for example, and you wanted to get down to street level like really quickly. I think you would hold like right trigger and B, and then you sort of like do this whole Spider-Man monkey thing, like going down like really quickly. And the animations were really fluid as well. I actually really enjoyed this game. I thought it was a good time. Um, yeah, if you were to ask me what the story is about, again, it's like a game that I've only played through the once, and never really got back to it. I forgot his name. I think you play as Arno. I think his name was Arno. I think Arno, and yeah, there was like all these different like cosmetics you could get, different weaponry and all that. And this was the game that introduced Assassin's Creed co-op. So I think there was still like a multiplayer aspect, like a competitive multiplayer aspect to this game. I don't remember, but in this game you had cooperative co-op where you play as. It goes up to 4 players. And you have like these different cooperative missions to do. I didn't really touch upon this because I never really got into like the co-op aspect of this game, which I think is a crying shame because I think this game would have been absolutely hilarious and great with friends. But yeah, never really got into like the multiplayer aspect of this game. But I didn't mind it at all. I thought it was an okay game. And again, if you were to like ask me what the story is about, I couldn't tell you. But yeah, I think without further ado, I'm gonna have to put this in the B category, definitely. So this is like again like a middle of the range average game for me. But if I got into like the multiplayer, like cooperative aspect of the game, it could have been higher. Who knows? But yeah, that's definitely gonna have to go there for sure. Right, Assassin's Creed Syndicate. So this takes place in industrial London. So again, I think it's like the 1800s, and you play as 2 assassins. You play as like a brother and sister pair, the Fry twins. I think they were called the Frys, Jacob and Evelyn. Now I'm starting to like go like starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel in my brain now. I think that's what they were called. Yeah, I didn't mind this game at all either. I thought it was a good time. And I actually need to go back to this game because I need to play through the Jack the Ripper DLC. I think I played about, I don't know, maybe like half an hour of that DLC. I need to go back to it. And there's still some aspect to the game like I'm missing as well, like some side stuff and all that. But yeah, never really got round to going back to this game. I think maybe later on during going down the line, I might come back to this game. I might like revisit Assassin's Creed games and try and get some miscellaneous things in it. But yeah, for the time being, no intentions of going back to it just yet. But yeah, I still thought it was a good time. And it basically worked on Unity's system of like the whole free flow, free run system, and the whole stealth mechanic was like tiled down to a button press. So if you press, I think like left bumper, I think it was, like you would put your hood up and you start crouching and you go into like assassin mode. And then if you go, if you press left bumper again, you go into like civilian mode where you have like a top hat or whatever, and you go into like a more brawling style of game. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I don't remember if this game had co-op. I think Unity was the only game that had co-op in it. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I thought it was okay. But if you were to again like ask me what the story was about, I remember there was like an old geezer in it, and he was a bastard in it. But yeah, I mean, I don't really remember it all that well. But yeah, I'm gonna have to put it again, middle of the range, definitely. Definitely. Right, now we're starting to go into the real meat and potatoes of this series, and this is when the series starts to diverge a little bit and starts to divide the player base just a little bit. Right, Assassin's Creed Origins. So this game, instead of like being like an action, like a typical action game, this is now an RPG. This is like the first of the trilogy of like RPG games. I don't know if Mirage is going to be an RPG. I hope not. But yeah, like Origins is the first of the RPG trilogy. Like role-playing game, like you basically control Bayek. This is like ancient Egypt BC type of deal. So you had like, you know, the pyramids, you had the Nile and all that. It was great. I thought it was okay, in all fairness. These next 3 games, I've put a lot of hours. I've dedicated a lot of hours to these games. Because there was like a lot of DLC involved, and the games themselves, like just the typical like main game, was huge. These games were huge. But yeah, this was basically like the origins of the Assassin Order. So apparently, the Assassin Order started in ancient Egypt, whereas the older Assassin's Creed games led you to believe like it was basically the start of creation, like Adam and Eve. That's when the Assassins started. Apparently not. This is when the Creed started, apparently. So yeah, I think you go up against Templars as well, but they weren't really called the Templars. In this one, they were called... They weren't called the Hidden Ones. I don't think they were called the Hidden Ones. I think the Assassins in this game were called the Hidden Ones. God, I actually don't really remember what the Templars in this game were called. I could be like completely mixing them up, and they could be called the Hidden Ones. I don't know. But yeah, this game was huge. This game was massive, and they're only going to get more and more massive as they go. Yeah, I didn't mind this. I had a good time with it. Again, I dedicated a lot of hours into this game. So I think, without further ado, I'm gonna have to put this in the A category. I actually didn't really mind this game at all. And some of the cutscenes in this game again were brutal and also incredible as well. Like there was like this part of the game, like in the early Assassin's Creed games, you would have like these sequences where it's just like a 1v1 conversation with like your character against like the guy you've just killed. So you have like these like back and forth conversations with like them in the afterlife or something like that. In this game, you sort of have the same sort of thing in Origins, but there comes a point where one of them gets really brutal. I think it was the first guy that you killed because he kills like your family, I think, if I remember correctly. And you really go to town with him in your conversation with him, and you really like brutalize the shit out of him. I mean, I thought it was a good time. I didn't mind it, but yeah, I think it's gonna have to go into the A category. I didn't mind it. Right. Oh, Odyssey. Right. So this trilogy, like the RPG trilogy, really starts to go all over the place with its mythology and actual events that happen. So in one of the DLCs for Origins, you go up against like the gods of Egypt, you know, and you fight against like giant scorpions and that sort of thing. In this game, in Odyssey, you have boss fights and all that with like mythical creatures. So you have like a boss fight with a griffin, or like with Medusa as well, you know. So I remember seeing like an image of like Assassin's Creed 1 next to Assassin's Creed Odyssey, and the caption was like, remember in like Assassin's Creed 1 where they had to remove the crossbow because it wasn't historically correct? And then you have like Odyssey, which was your guy on top of a unicorn with like a flaming head. You know, that sort of thing. This is when like Assassin's Creed really started to go a bit trippy with their content, let's say. But again, I plugged a lot of hours into this game, and I mean a lot. I think I put like a good 70 hours into this game. It could be more, but this is when like the DLC started coming out, and I went back to the DLC, but then I this is basically like a fuck up on my side, where I left like a wide berth in between DLC and the main game. So there was like 3 or 4 DLC packs of like all these different missions that you could do with Assassin's Creed Odyssey, to the point where there was so much that it was basically like its own game. And I'm like, oh god, I do not have the mentality to go through this game's DLC because there's far too many. There's like another 50 or 60 hours just DLC alone. So I basically fucked up on my part. I should have done it where like DLC came out right from the start and then I came back to that game, you know? I should have done it like that. It was a fuck up on my part. But Odyssey, I didn't mind it. I honestly didn't mind it. There were some sections of the game that was like really funny in some areas, and your character, I forgot his name, Leonidas, Alejandro, I forgot his name. Yeah, so it's like parts of the game where it's like, oh, you can have like this massive orgy with people, and then you could be like, oh, I'll just go sleep with you, and I'll go sleep with you, and then I go sleep with you. It was funny in some cases. I just made it like a huge massive joke in the main campaign, you know. But yeah, I thought it was like average. I thought it was a B, even though I plugged a lot of hours into it, and that basically just tells you that I had a good time with it. You know what? Changing my mind. I've changed my mind. Because, don't get me wrong, I actually don't mind the RPG trilogy of Assassin's Creed. I really don't mind it because I put a lot of hours into this trilogy, and I mean a lot of hours. To the point where you have like connections with these characters, and let's say if a character dies or if a character betrays you or something like that, you feel it because you've put so many hours into these characters, learning their backstory, what their traits are like, what they're like as a person, and then to come out and die or betray you, it feels. There's like a massive feel, for sure. But yeah, Odyssey, yeah, I'm gonna have to put it in the A category, I thought. Alright, Assassin's Creed Valhalla. The latest Assassin's Creed game to hit the stores. This takes place in England, basically, and also in like the Netherlands as well. I actually don't really remember what type of period this was. I don't remember. Really don't remember. I think this was like the turn of like the turn of the 1st century, or millennia. I would say something like that. I don't really remember, but yeah. So you control Ivor. You could either be a chick or a dude. The same with Odyssey. You could be like a chick or a dude. I picked the dude, and it's funny to like hear like the I think it's the Heineken or the Carlsberg advert, and to hear Ivor speak. It's funny. It's trippy. But yeah. So again, I think I plugged 80 hours into this game and counting. I'm still playing this game. I still have to play through like the Irish, the French, and the Fall of Ragnarok DLCs. So again, I'm having like another Odyssey moment, but I'm really trying my best to make sure that doesn't happen and that I actually do go through the DLC for this game. But yeah, I'm still enjoying this game. It has a little bit of naval things in it, but you basically use like your ships and all that to cover. Okay, I don't know if you picked that up, but there was like a massive truck that just sort of like went over a bump or something. That was a bit loud. Yeah, your naval stuff was really to go from like point A to point B and then do raids on like different villages. You're basically like a Viking assassin, right? So it's really starting to like lean towards not being an assassin anymore type of gameplay, you know, because Odyssey still had like assassin elements in it, but like Valhalla was trying its best to give you assassin elements, but you know, it was still, it didn't feel like an Assassin's Creed game, you know. Basically, the Hidden Blade as well wasn't a one-hit KO. It wasn't, which it should have been a one-hit KO to anything, like the original Assassin's Creed. But yeah, I mean, I didn't mind this game at all. Still playing through it because I'm trying to not repeat the mistakes I did with Odyssey and actually play through the DLC for this game. But yes, I mean, so far so good. And the fact is, like, it's in England as well. It's like its own interpretation of, like, it's not really Crusader England. I mean, is it Crusader England? I actually really don't know if it is or not. I couldn't tell you. But yeah, it's gonna have to go into the A category. So, like, the RPG trilogy, it goes into the A category because for me, I've plugged a lot of hours into this game. So I've built up these relationships with these characters and, like, the world building and, like, the gameplay elements. So I plugged a lot of time into it. So I feel like I've played enough of these games to warrant an A. You know. But yeah, so that is the RPG trilogy. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that that Mirage, Assassin's Creed Mirage, that's coming out, is literally back to basics, where it's like it's like an action game again, like an actual Assassin's Creed game, and not an RPG. Don't get me wrong, I do like the RPG games of Assassin's Creed, but we need to go back, basically back to formula. Quoting Spider-Man, right there. Quoting Norman Osborn. Right, this game. So now we're sort of like going back in time with Assassin's Creed games. Assassin's Creed Chronicles. Russia. Never played this one. And you'll see why in a minute. So I never played Russia. But from what I understand, because I saw gameplay of it as well. Excuse me. This was a 2.5D Assassin's Creed game, so it was like a 2D plane, but there were some instances where you go into the foreground and all that, and it's like a bird's eye view, so it's not your typical 2D platformer, it's like 2.5D, so it's like on the verge of, like, being both. It's one of those games. It's like an abstract platformer, if you want to call it that. So yeah, never played Russia. You'll see why in a minute. All right, Assassin's Creed India. So Russia was like the third game in the Chronicles. India was the second game in the Chronicles. Never played it. Never played it. And again, it's all down to this game. This game, Assassin's Creed Chronicles China. So I played this game when it first came out, and I couldn't grasp the 2.5D aspect of this game, and I don't know, I really don't like the Chronicle games. If I were to go back to these games, I would do for a stream, like I would do these on stream. It gives me like an excuse to go back and play these games, just to see what they're like. But yeah, never really enjoyed China. And it got to the point where, like, I played it for a little bit, and then, oh, other games came out. Let me play these other games. Should I go back to China? What's Assassin's Creed Chronicles China? I don't know. Should I go back to it? No, it didn't grasp me. I didn't like it. So, without further ado, it's going to have to go into the C category, because it's a game that I kind of played, but I didn't have a really good time with it at all, and I just hated it. And it didn't really grasp me. It didn't grasp me to, like, come back and play it. Didn't like it. So India and Russia suffered because of the first game. I assume they play the exact same as China, but didn't like it. Really didn't like it at all. Didn't like it. But yeah, like I said before, I might go back to these games maybe for like a stream. Just to do them on stream gives me an excuse to play through them, but we'll see in the future. Maybe this month I might do it, because I'm dedicating September's like streaming to be Assassin's Creed. Like, Assassin's Creed is going to be like the main priority for like streaming, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Right. Assassin's Creed Black Flag Freedom Cry. So this is like a standalone DLC for Assassin's Creed Black Flag, where you play as, I forgot this guy's name, but you play as the first shipmate of Edward Kenway's ship. You're basically like an assassin as well. You follow like the assassin footsteps, and you go around the Caribbean, and you go and save like slaves from enslavement from like the rich folk. That's basically the premise for this game, or DLC. It's strange because it's like a game / DLC. It's big enough to be its own standalone game, but it's short enough not to get that standalone game treatment. It's middle of the mark. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I only really played it through the once on 360. I think I have it. I don't think I actually have this on Xbox One because it gave it like the standalone game treatment, where it was its own. It was its own thing. But yeah, I didn't mind it. I only played it through the once. It basically played like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but you didn't have the naval stuff, if I remember correctly. I don't think you had naval combat in it. But yeah, so it's like Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, but they removed some things, so it's going to have to go in the B category for me. Right, we're almost done, guys. We're almost done. So, Assassin's Creed Liberation. This is a weird one. I don't know what to think of this game, because it's sort of like... It's like Assassin's Creed Rogue and China for me, you know, this game. So, oh my god, what was this originally? I think this game was originally a PSP game or a 3DS game, something like that. It was a portable game originally, and then Ubisoft thought it was a good idea to upscale it and sell it as a console port. You know, I mean... this takes place around Assassin's Creed 3. I think this takes place around Assassin's Creed 3 or Black Flag, something like that. It's like in between. So you had like aspect of like Assassin's Creed Rogue in there, Assassin's Creed 3 in there. It was very much in the middle. And again, it's like a game that I played for a little bit, but never came back to it. Because it never really interested me. I bought this game because this was part of the Assassin's Creed 3 remastered collection that came out on Xbox One. So it came with it, so I thought, like, you know what, fuck it. I'll give it the benefit of a doubt, and I'll play it. I'll see what it's like. Did not. I didn't have fun with this game, and I have yet to complete it, but it's not like one of those games that's like, I need to go back to this game to complete it, like now. It's not like that for me. So Liberation is going to have to go there for me. It's going to have to go in the C category, for sure. And to top it all off, we have Assassin's Creed Bloodlines. That came out on PSP. This takes place after Assassin's Creed 1. And it's sort of like builds upon Altair's connections with like people and all that. And his wife and his lover and all that to continue like his bloodline. See what we did there. But as far as this goes, I didn't own a PSP, so I never played this game. I think this was like very, very similar to Assassin's Creed 1, where it played very, very similarly. Like it felt like Assassin's Creed 1, but like ported to the PSP, to a handheld. But yeah, never played it. But yeah, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We have done 18 Assassin's Creed games. So that is my list. Let's just have a look to see how long I've been going. Almost an hour. Ouch. But we had a lot of ground to cover. and I had a lot of opinions and a lot of memories for this game. So I actually thoroughly enjoyed doing this tier list. I had a lot of fun doing this tier list for sure. I enjoyed this one. But yeah, that is my list. Let me know in the comment section below what your list is like. If you agree with me, do you disagree with me? Did you like playing Assassin's Creed Chronicles? Do you even know what Assassin's Creed Chronicles is? Well, when it comes to Assassin's Creed Chronicles, the other games, like all those games, came out with games with gold. So we basically own those games. But yeah, so let me know what you thought in the comment section below. Did you agree with me? Did you disagree with me? Is your list completely different? What's your memories with these games? Are you hyped that Assassin's Creed is turning 15 and you feel old? But yes, that is my list. Thoroughly enjoyed doing this. Happy 15 years to Assassin's Creed. But yeah, like I said as well, I'm going to be doing... or I'm going to be dedicating September to doing Assassin's Creed streams throughout the month. So yeah, starting with Assassin's Creed 1, we're going to be doing that sometime soon. This week is going to be a little bit strange when it comes to making out content and streaming, because I think Friday and Saturday we have like the Disney Marvel event and the Ubisoft event. So I'm going to be watching those. So you know, we got that to look forward to. Hopefully, Mirage is going to be your older version of Assassin's Creed, not like the RPG series. But yeah, so September is going to be dedicated to Assassin's Creed streams. And then when it comes to October is going to be a doozy of a month for streaming. But yes, guys, that's where I'm going to have to cut it for this tier list video. Thank you all so much for stopping by if you have. Thank you for watching the entire thing if you have as well. Thank you all so much. Yeah, like I said before, I'd love to hear your tier lists, your suggestions as well. If you got any suggestions for me, feel free to leave them down below. And yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. If you liked what you've seen, go ahead and subscribe, and also ring that bell to stay notified when I go live for a stream or when I do post a video. Stay safe, and as always, I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care, enjoy yourselves, enjoy the rest of your day, stay safe, goodbye.